Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Can Mayonnaise Kill a Jedi podcast. I am your host, the Artificial Dragon.
I'm your co-host, Darth Celine.
Alright, and happy late 4th of July, everybody. It's probably going to be more than a week by the time this video comes out, because by the time this video gets recorded, I will be on vacation in Colorado for 4th of July weekend with relatives, so I apologize for the massive gap between this episode and the Biff episode. Just a lot of vacations have been coming along in my schedule recently.
Nothing wrong with that. At least you're taking time off to go relax and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Let me see it. Yeah, as usual, happy 4th of July, everybody.
Happy 4th.
Yeah, happy 4th, happy Independence Day, all of that fun American stuff and everything.
Just in America, fuck yeah!
I remember watching that music video in high school. It was the most hype thing ever.
And same with Broforce, too.
God, I haven't played that game in forever. Patriotic.
Such a good game.
Yeah, it is.
Rage-inducing, but a good game.
Oh, yeah. I think there's like a second Broforce coming out soon.
No way.
There is, yes.
Holy shit. Yeah, we need to try and play through that again.
That would be fun, but patriotism aside, you know the drill. So for this month, we have a new Patreon art piece, which includes a imperialist turned freedom-loving patriot of the Republic, Alara Dorn.
Yeah, this is a pretty good art piece.
Yeah, she's got her two personalities sticking out for everybody.
She's not my favorite companion, but it is a good art piece.
Yeah, it is a very good art piece, and as a companion character, she's second only to Darth Lacris as the supreme waifu of SWTOR and everything.
She is a good medic.
She is a good medic, and that British accent just chef's kiss.
That's why you love Lacris too.
I have a thing for British people, it seems.
Same here.
But yeah, so yeah, if you're interested in our Patreon art pieces, including a good old freedom-loving Alara Dorn, then you could contribute to our highest amount of $10. But if you're not interested and, you know, the personalities liberating you from imperialism and everything, you could contribute to any amount, the lowest being $2 and $5, and of course a $10 tier. And you'll have instant access to our Discord server, where you could talk about general Star Wars lore, memes here and there, or just have a nice little discussion and give us some episode recommendations in the chat.
Yeah, talk to us, get to know us. We're chill. We have a good vibe.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, especially showing everybody's Star Wars collection, sharing nice stories here and there.
Definitely. Also, support my blog.
Yeah. Darth Celine's growing character blog over there. You haven't come up with a name for it yet, have you?
Still have not come up with a name. If anybody wants to put suggestions, please give me suggestions.
Yeah, but that aside, is there anything else I'm thinking about? No, I think that's pretty much it. But yeah, happy 4th of July, everybody. Patriotism all around, and God bless America.
God bless America.
But yeah, speaking of patriotism, Hannah, you want to know what today's episode is going to be about?
Corellia.
Yeah, we will be talking about arguably the renegades / independent boys of Star Wars, Corellia.
This will be interesting.
It will be very, very interesting. So what are your experiences with Corellia, or the Corellians in general?
Well, I think everybody knows that in SWTOR, the end world, for the stories at least, in Chapter 3, for the class stories, is Corellia. Because there is a war breaking out on Corellia.
Oh yeah, there is.
I mean, the Empire wants to take it, the Republic wants to defend it.
I think, like, the entirety of 1/3 of the Empire's strength is at Corellia or something.
Yeah, the Empire put a lot of power into Corellia to fight the war. It depends on what side wins, on what story you're playing.
Which gives you a nice little perspective of how uber important Corellia is.
It is very important.
It is very important, which is why we will be diving the significance of why it's so super duper important in this episode.
It makes me think it's like the Washington, D.C. or New York of the galaxy.
I would imagine it's like the Washington, D.C. or more like maybe London.
Maybe.
Well,
it's very important.
It is super duper important. It's of course one of the core founders of a galactic republic and everything, alongside Coruscant, Odoran, Duros, the core founders and everything. But yeah, so let's go ahead. Actually, before I get started, Corellia actually makes a significant appearance, at least in the first opening part of a Solo movie.
Of course.
Because
I remember that.
Yeah, because Han Solo comes from Corellia, which is super duper obvious. But yeah, we'll get more into Corellians as a people and everything. So let me give the basics out of the way first. Corellia is the capital of, the Corellia system within the Core Worlds region. A system that includes Solonia, Droll, Tarlis, and Talis. Collectively, these planets are called the Five Brothers. Since Corellia is the largest world and the closest to the star of Corelli, it is often called the eldest brother. And it was, or simply, the eldest, very simple. Corellia is around 11,000 kilometers across, compared to Earth's 12,756 kilometers, so it is decently close in size to Earth.
Okay.
It has a day and night cycle of 25 hours, so an hour longer than Earth.
Just an hour longer.
Yeah. An orbital period of 329 days, a little bit shorter than Earth.
About 30-ish.
Yeah, 30-ish days. And it has 3 moons, including Gus Talon and Gus Toretta. Corellia has a temperate climate filled with varied environments such as rolling hills, dense forests, lush fields, vast seas, beaches, mountains, and crystal swamps.
That sounds like a nice vacation spot.
Pretty much. I mean, if you're non-Corellian, probably not, but it's a nice spot. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure I will say this about a good amount of planets in the Star Wars galaxy, but Corellia is a top contender for one of those worlds that is so super similar to Earth.
Yeah, I can see why.
Like it has a shit ton of environments aside from just one biosphere and everything. Mm-hmm. Like we always have these planets that are predominantly.
It's not like Ryloth.
Not like Ryloth, where it's just a fucking desert.
A hellscape.
Or fucking Hoth, which is nothing but ice and snow everywhere.
Or Tatooine.
Or Naboo, which is predominantly swamps and everything.
It's very diverse.
Very diverse compared to every other planet in the galaxy. But anyway, though it was designated as an industrial world and is considered a highly developed planet with a population of 3 billion, with 60% populated by the native Corellians. Interestingly enough, it is rumored that their snow-covered mountains held many deep underwater caverns, which held large orange lightsaber crystals. So apparently that's like a place that you could probably go to get lightsaber crystals if Ilum is not available.
Legends or canon?
Legends.
Of course.
Yeah. So Corellia has 3 large continents. The capital is Coronet, located on the coast of a primary continent. Corvella is the tourist attraction city, the double city Tirana, and the mountain helms of Dobagarfa and Bella Vista. You probably went to Coronet City in SWTOR. It's like the capital of Corellia.
It's where the war broke out.
Yeah, exactly. And Corellia had a unique wildlife. It's not in-depth as Tatooine or Naboo, for example, but it has its own distinct wildlife. The first one would be the Corellian banshee bird. I'll go ahead and send it to you in the chat.
Yes, thank you for your input on this. Mayonnaise droid.
But yeah, the Corellian banshee bird is famous for its wail, which can be heard miles away, which is the moniker of its name, the banshee bird.
Well, yeah.
And it is used to flush out its prey from the safety of the undergrowth and just swoop them away when
Sounds
they're
like
running.
typical falcon.
Yeah, typical falcon, except it screams its fucking head off.
Have you heard of falcons cry?
Yep. I told you I saw 2 red-tailed hogs on my way to work today.
All right. That's a pretty cool looking bird.
It is a pretty cool looking bird. And like other birds of prey, it could be trained and used by hunters. They are also popular pets for rich nobles, though the banshee bird is extremely claustrophobic, and it is required to keep them in a large aviary.
Well, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. And then next is the Corellian sand panther, and it has 2 different portrayals from what I can tell. The first one is basically this mountain lion looking fucker.
That just looks like a panther or a puma.
Yeah. And the other appearance, I don't have a picture, unfortunately. It looks like a African lion if it took a huge dip in the swamps or something. It's really weird looking, but the Corellian sand panther, also sometimes called the sand panther or the razor cat, is a large feline that possessed venomous claws, which are odorless and tasteless.
Oh.
While it is illegal to hunt the sand panther, many poachers would be tempted to find the large cat for both its prized fur and its rare venom.
Hell, it's just like how here in Arizona it's illegal to hunt mountain lions.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Those sand panthers are usually found in deserts. They could also be sometimes found in other temperate environments and are known as the galaxy's quietest hunters, being able to approach prey within centimeters without detection.
That's a kitty you don't want to fuck with.
No, or, fall asleep around because, like, oh!
That's a big kitty.
It is a very big kitty, and it is said to be virtually impossible to tame.
Aww.
Virtually. It didn't say completely impossible. And then next is a little bit more gross, is the Corellium limpet. It's basically this weird looking parasite.
Oh, there it is. Oh, what the fuck?
Yep.
Ew.
So the Corellian limpet is a space-borne parasite commonly found around the space in the Corellia system. They are commonly attracted to spilled fuel, but would generally feed on anything. However, on rare occasions, as you see in that picture, they can attach themselves to living beings and become permanently grafted to their bodies and everything.
That doesn't sound nice.
So yeah, that thing is on there permanently. You're never going to get that thing off of you unless you die.
Oh god. Jeez.
And then, and then there's the Corellian slice hound, which is basically the Corellian equivalent to, wolves and everything.
What? Interesting.
Yeah, essentially a Corellian allegory to wolves, wild dogs, and everything. The only distinction about it is that it has razor-sharp teeth and spikes all over its body.
I was gonna say, give a capybara spikes and sharp teeth, and that's what you get with this.
Yeah, that's pretty much the rough and tumble of what it looks like. But as with most canine creatures, they could be tamed as pets and everything.
Cool.
And in canon, there is the Corellian hound, which I'll send in the other chat. I think this one actually appears in the Solo movie.
Ugh. What the fuck is that thing?
But yeah, while the wildlife, I briefly looked through my research. There's like a shit ton of aquatic life. I think there's like a flightless bird on Corellia. Ultimately, though, that even though I focus those on my previous episodes, I think the history of Corellia is far more important than anything else.
Makes sense.
Because it is so goddamn interesting. So, of course, Corellia is known for its alcohol, agricultural goods, import luxury items, raw materials, weapons, and more predominantly, its starship construction facilities.
Doesn't Dooku favor Corellian wine?
I think he does.
Alderaanian wine.
I think it was either Alderaan or Corellian, but I think he's a culture of both of those types of wines.
Of course, he's a bougie bitch.
Yeah, Yeah, there's like this famous picture where he has his wine glass. He has that signature look of superiority to him.
One of my favorite pictures, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's he's just dripping with superiority.
Yep.
But yeah, if it isn't obvious already, Corellia is most famous through its starship manufacturer, which is called Corellian Engineering Corporation, or CEC for short.
Yep.
It's the same manufacturer that created the Millennium Falcon.
And it's also one of the manufacturers you have to either go defend or go attack in a side quest.
Oh yeah. So yeah, if a majority of like smuggling ships that you see in the Star Wars universe, the
smuggler ship itself looks like a version of the Millennium Falcon.
Just bigger.
A little bit bigger. It's got the same layout. It's got the hollow table. It's got the curved couch.
Yeah.
It fits a smuggler.
That's a classic Corellian design. Like in Star Wars, there's different manufacturers like Corellian Engineering Corporation, Kuat Drive Yards, Rendelia Star Drives. Those are like the car manufacturers of Star Wars and everything. I'm kind of debating. I think Corellia Engineering Corporation is like the Ford of Star Wars.
Makes sense.
Yeah, because
sounds like a good comparison.
Yeah, because all of their products are super duper reliable. They last for a pretty good time. Yes.
Okay, my brother is a car person.
Yeah.
He's a truck guy. Most of the time, people say Ford is an acronym for Found on the Road Dead.
You know, that's fair. But yeah, like many smuggler characters, their ships are Corellian design. Like the Ghost, the ship that the
Hera pilots.
That Hera pilots, that's Corellian.
Oh, that's cool.
And as you mentioned before,
need to watch Rebels.
And as you mentioned before, the ship that the smuggler class uses, that's a Corellian ship.
The XS something.
XS something, and
insert yellow text.
the Alderaan blockade runner, the very first ship that you see in New Hope and everything, where it's running away from a Star Destroyer. That's Corellian.
Okay.
So it is everywhere in Star Wars, and it has been around for essentially since the beginning of the Republic's history.
Oh wow.
So yeah, it is a ancient starship manufacturer.
Cool.
Yeah. The primary law enforcement force on Corellia is called the Corellian Security Forces, also known as CorSec for short.
Heard of CorSec?
Yeah. Just to give you an idea, it's basically your classic police force on Corellia and everything. Like, they have a secret agent agency. There's detectives, that sort of thing.
I know that in the Trooper story you have to work with a CorSec agent, but I just think in the Republic storylines you work with CorSec.
Yeah. In
defending Corellia. But there's one character that, depending on if you make the right choices, either he loves you or he fucking hates you.
Yeah.
I think it was in my Trooper playthrough where I made, the right choices for the good of the Republic and not the good of Corellia.
Yeah.
And he's like, I fucking hate you, basically, in a mail after the mission. I'm like, well, fuck you.
Yeah, and that's a common theme that you'll see with a lot of Corellians, is that they are more loyal to their home planet than for the good of a Republic and everything.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Which is a nice little segue, because we'll be talking about the Corellians themselves. Obviously, the Corellians are the name of the human inhabitants of Corellia. And they have many unique traits that make them stand out apart from normal baseline humans. I mean, there's no physical appearance or anything like that. I think there's like both Caucasian and dark-skinned Corellians here and there. But I think it's more of a culture than an actual
race.
Race than anything else.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Just like how Coruscant, like humans on Coruscant are called Coruscanti.
Yep. As such, they have a distinct trait of being independent-minded, yet daring, pragmatic, and reckless.
Sounds like Han Solo in a nutshell.
Basically, all Corellians are basically Han Solo.
That tracks.
Obviously, there's some differences here and there, but generally, Imagine Han Solo, but as an entire people. And given their long history of isolationism, individual Corellians are well known for being rebels that tend to rise up against any galactic government or seeking their own independence from the Galactic Republic and its successors multiple times.
And same with the Galactic Empire.
Yeah.
They didn't want the Empire taking over.
Pretty much, yeah. They're justified against the Empire, let's be honest.
Yeah.
There is even a saying that Corellians have rocket fuel for blood. That's how hot-blooded they can be.
Yeah. Sounds like it. Just look at Han Solo.
Yeah. Though despite their maverick-like attitude, there are many members of the core world that... so they have some positive aspects. They are... The one thing that they value above everything else is loyalty.
Yep.
They value family ties for their people, their homeworld, to a point that there is an ancient Corellian saying called, "The bigger the galaxy, the sweeter the homecoming."
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. As an aspect of their culture that remains enduring was seen as odd for many sociologists due to the fact that Corellian society grew a large number of smugglers and pirates, yet still revered family loyalties.
Hey.
Yeah. Don't hurt yourself.
Fucking words. Moving on.
Yeah.
I can't think of what I was going to say.
But yeah, another interesting thing is that green held a great importance in Corellian society, as can be seen with their wedding gowns, which are all green.
The Green Jedi.
Yeah, and the Green Jedi, and the Corsac markings, which is distinctly green. Corellians also held a very strong military tradition, as seen in both their Corsac operatives and even galactic-level military organizations within the Republic military, Imperial Navy, etc., etc. For them, their highest military honor was the Corellian Blood Stripe, which I'll put in the chat real quickly. Only the most high-ranking and brave Corellians are allowed to wear this marking, which is usually like on their trousers and everything.
I've heard it mentioned in the Republic stories. I think the trooper gets it, but I'm not sure.
Very interesting.
But still, that's cool.
Yeah. All Corellians speak Galactic Basic as their primary language, though they do have their own language called Old Corellian, which is still retained by pirates and smugglers.
Okay, so it's like a pirate language.
Yeah, pretty much. We'll eventually talk about language in its own episode, but I think Bache is basically a trade language in Star Wars. Like Uncle Owen and C-3PO briefly talk about it in New Hope and everything.
It's like how back in the Thrawn episode, when Thrawn meets those pirates, he's speaking to them in basically that language.
Pretty much, yeah.
See, watch the Thrawn episode.
It's so good.
If you want to hear me simple, go right ahead.
And I will give you names of a couple of notable Corellians that you might recognize. There's the famous bounty hunter Dengar. There's Gale Pelion, which, if you recall, is the second in command of Thrawn, which Antilles is also a Corellian. And Quora, the love interest of Han Solo in the Solo movie, is also Corellian. Yeah, Kira.
Which Antilles? The second guy is Pelion?
Yeah, the guy with a mustache is Pelion.
Okay.
Yeah, he's basically Thrawn's protege during his campaign and everything.
I think Legends, right?
Yep.
Of course.
Oh yeah, he appears in canon as well. And he's basically Thrawn's liaison during the Mandalorian season 3 episodes.
Now I need to watch. God damn it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so behind.
We are all behind, so don't worry about it. And obviously, the most famous Corellian is Han Solo.
Yes, of course. But Kira
yeah.
is so fashionable.
She is very fashionable.
Gorgeous.
She is very gorgeous. And she is also the leader of a criminal cartel, so she's making her reigns.
She's a badass.
Yeah.
Beautiful and a badass.
Yeah, I think you remember that picture I sent you of her fighting Darth Vader, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I gotta catch up on her comic series and everything. Yeah, whatever. Let's go into the Corellia's general history. And of course, I'm kind of sidelining the other native races like the Solonians and the Drell. Yeah.
The Solonians are a really interesting race.
Yeah, they are.
But good to mention them.
Yeah, they're basically otter/ferret people.
Yeah, basically overgrown otters.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're cool.
And the Drell are basically, what's a good comparison? I think like hamster people or maybe like prairie dog people.
I was going to say like prairie dogs or gophers.
Yeah, pretty much. They're also kind of interesting.
And they're fucking tiny.
Yeah, they're like 3 feet tall.
They come up to your knees in SWTOR because you interact with them.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what the fuck are you?
I had no idea the Drell were in SWTOR.
They are.
I only knew that the Solonians were in SWTOR.
They both are.
Yeah. Okay, that's actually pretty neat. Solonians are super duper interesting, as well as the Drow, but we'll focus on them in their own episodes.
Yep.
But yeah,
added onto the fucking list.
Added to the list. In the ancient past, it was theorized that Corellia itself was placed within its current orbital position by the ancient celestial device called Centerpoint Station. Mm-hmm. And its population of humans were taken from the world of Coruscant, because Coruscant is generally accepted to be the home world of the human race and everything. Corellia became one of many worlds enslaved by the Infinite Empire, with many Corellians having a hand in building the superweapon called the Starforged. After the Infinite Empire, fucked off and everything, the Corellians spent the next 200 years reverse engineering the Rakatan hyperdrive and did innovative uses and breakthroughs, creating the device called the hyperspace cannon. So you know how like all ships in Star Wars have like a hyperdrive that lets them go into hyperspace?
Yeah.
Basically, those ships don't have hyperdrive, so they would have to go into essentially a rail gun and go into hyperspace that way.
It's like propel yourself into hyperspace through a fucking gun.
Or a fucking slingshot.
Just, okay, hang on. Pew!
Pew! Pretty much. This a lot as I know, that's a very funny picture to think about.
That's very funny.
But despite this very primitive take on the hyperdrive and everything, this allowed the Corellians to connect to other core worlds, such as Coruscant and Duros. Mm-hmm. Eventually, through further innovation from their newfound allies, the Corellians managed to create their own genuine hyperdrive, and would go on to become one of the founders of a galactic republic. And I think Corellia is like okay, so all Corellians, they're naturally like, they want to go out and explore the galaxy and everything. Mm-hmm. And I believe like a lot of Republic travelers and navigators are Corellian.
That's cool.
Yeah, so
I feel like all Corellians have that sense of adventure in them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And eventually they want to go back home because, they don't want to be homesick and everything. In their founding years, the Corellians would serve as the front line of innovation, having founded the Corellian Engineering Corporation, and there have even been rumors of a Jedi Order being founded on Corellia itself.
That's an interesting theory.
Yeah, though obviously this is bogus because they were they were founded on
Typhon.
Well, yeah, Typhon, and then eventually that other planet I can't think of right now.
Ossus?
Yeah, Ossus, thank you. Though it did have its own unique Green Jedi traditions and everything. Yeah, the Green Jedi are particularly interesting, and they should have their own dedicated episode and everything.
But they're pretty cool.
They are pretty cool. I think they have like I wouldn't say currency, it's called the Jedi Credit, which is basically like a little token that has the Jedi symbol on it and everything.
That's cool.
It's basically like a show of... basically shows you, hey, I'm a Jedi and everything.
Yeah. It's like, why the fuck is that not included in canon?
No.
That's such a cool concept.
It is such a cool concept, man. The Green Jedi obviously are just like their Corellian forefathers and tell everybody to fuck off and everything.
Yes. They do not like the Empire.
No, they do not. Let's see. And then eventually Corellia founded two important hyperspace lanes, one being the Corellia Run and the other being the Corellia Trade Run.
Okay.
each of these ensured its economic dominance within the Republic and would continue to be a member of good standing. As it gained more wealth and influence, I imagine Corellia, just pausing real quickly, I imagine like Corellia is basically like the, why am I not, okay, so,
Words.
motherfucking words, it's basically like the space version of the Phoenicians in the ancient world.
Okay.
Like, there we go, Carthage. You know where Carthage is, right?
Yeah.
It's the ancient trade center of the Phoenicians, the Punics, as the Romans like to call them.
Nice.
So I imagine Corellia is like the Carthage of the Star Wars universe and everything, because they are so rich in trading goods and, you know, starship technology and everything.
I mean, there's got to be one for every society, you know?
Yep.
That's cool. That's a good comparison.
But yeah, so getting back on track real quickly. Through gaining more wealth and influence, Corellia would expand its reach to neighboring space and colonizing many star systems, which collectively became the Corellian sector, with as many as 29 systems making up the sector.
Wow.
Including Duros itself.
Oh, cool.
Yep. So it's got a lot of power and influence within the Galactic Republic and everything, which will come into play multiple times, as you'll soon find out.
I'm sure.
Corellia would maintain its reputation as possessing some of the best pilots and hyperspace explorers in the galaxy, and would become an early trade partner with the Wookiees when Kashyyyk became part of the Republic.
Cool.
So yeah, Han Solo and Chewbacca, that relationship is not new.
It just there was always like a brotherhood kind of thing between
Pretty much,
Corellians and Wookiees.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Like, I think the Smuggler has a Wookiee companion too.
Yes, Bowdar.
Yeah, but Wookiee
I didn't even make
Gladiator.
that connection. Fuck. Now you need to add a Corellian NPC to the party.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Corellians are so fun, and, you know, they're always rude to your face and everything.
Or they could be smooth charmers.
Oh yeah, that is also true. Because I think Han Solo has
He's a smooth talking motherfucker.
He's a smooth talking motherfucker indeed.
And so is Kira.
Yeah, that is also very true. Where was I? Okay. Corellia itself would also become an important site of an important Republic Navy dry docks during the Mandalorian Wars. While Corellia was often regarded as being ruled by a monarchy due to the presence of royal rulers throughout its history, said leaders would have varied state of affairs with the government of Corellia, because as with most governments, they tend to change every once in a while.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Hang on, going back to like the royals thing, didn't people lose their shit over Han Solo having like a royal ancestor?
Yep, I remember that. Yeah.
Yep, that just
He's part of a House Solo, I believe. But anyway, so we'll get into that a little bit.
Don't actually us in the comments, please.
Corellia has been everything from an anarchic kleptocracy to a parliamentary democracy. It was King Balafrun El Solo of House Solo that established a democratic government in 312 years before the Battle of Yavin, replacing the planet's absolute monarchy. Though later in its history, Corellia would be home for many multi-stellar corporations, such as the Guavex Computers, the Corellia Mining Corporation, and obviously CEC, who all competed directly with other megacorporations like the Trade Federation and the Intergalactic Banking Clan. Over time, these corporations became very powerful and would overthrow the historical constitutional monarchy in favor of a government more amiable to unrestricted commerce.
Okay.
Which was called the Diktat. So essentially, if you think about it, modern day Corellia is basically the modern day United States.
Yeah, sounds like it.
But anyway, going away from government and politics real quickly. Though despite being one of the core founders of a republic, the Corellians are independent to a fault, as best exemplified through the first of many conflicts between Coruscant and Elaskan, where Corellia and its neighboring star systems, collectively called the Corellian hegemony, which represented 1/4 of a republic, refused to side with any in the conflict and chose neutrality, while still remaining a member of a republic. Yeah, Corellian has this really weird position where it could basically be a part of a republic, but not at the same time. It's kind of weird, which I will get to in a little bit.
It sounds like a very complicated relationship.
It's basically like the Switzerland of Star Wars.
That's a good way to fucking describe it. If only Mandalore could be that way.
If only. During that conflict, Corellia was granted a very specific clause within the Galactic Constitution, which is, the founding documents of a republic and everything. And I'm probably going to butcher this name. And this clause was called Contemptuous Harmony, which in Old Corellian translated to meditative solitude. Which essentially allowed Corellia and its home sector to close its borders in a state of neutrality while still remaining part of a republic.
It's basically, hey, we'll still be a part of the Republic, but no, you're not coming in.
Yeah, pretty much. It doesn't qualify as secession, but more of a declaration of suspended diplomatic relations.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. This clause could be invoked by the Corellian delegation within the Senate at any time, and would result in the delegation's withdrawal from Senate proceedings, and as such would surrender its veto power for the duration. When this clause is in effect, the Corellian sector would be inaccessible to all, except for those that lived within the sector, and those that aren't would need special permission from Corsec.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So it was like, they fucking closed everything. It's
pretty
like,
much.
No,
you're like,
fuck
nope,
you.
you're not coming in here. This is a special boys club. You're not allowed. Like, even traders weren't allowed in Corellia.
Wow.
Like, they essentially had to go to some other planet that's nearby, drop off their goods, so that the Corellian authorities could pick them up and go back to Corellia.
God damn.
That's
isolation as much?
Yep, it's a very common theme of Corellia in general.
Wow, very independent, but very isolationist.
Yeah, very. This also prevented the Republic from drafting Corellians or absorbing Corellian officers into their military during times of war.
Yeah, they're the people that don't want to play along.
Nope. Yeah, because in their mind, it's much more preferable to keep their native Corellians on their home soil instead of letting them die on some backwater planet in the middle of God knows where and everything.
Yeah.
Though ultimately, despite its questionable use, the clause was rarely used, with the exception of an independent faction within Corellia attempting to invoke the clause as an attempt to secede from the Republic. Obviously, that did not work at all.
No, obviously not.
But eventually, fast forward to the modern day, i.e. the separatist crisis and everything.
So, Phantom Menace.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, in between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Let's see. During this crisis and the debate of the Military Creation Act, Corellia was very critical of the legislation, with its most vocal opponent being Corellia's own senator, probably the most badass name I've ever heard for a senator ever, Garm Bill Eblis.
Okay.
And this guy... he's a very interesting dude. He is the senator of Corellia and one of the founders of a rebel alliance later down the line. Yeah, don't worry, he's in the chat. He's got a nice looking mustache.
Almost, he is on par. His mustache is on par with Sam Elliott's.
Yep.
Ooh, I picture him with Sam Elliott's voice now. Damn.
Yeah, Garm Bill Iblis is a fascinating character. Like, obviously, he's one of the founders of a rebel alliance. You actually get to see him in the game Force Unleashed. Very briefly, granted, but he's there.
That's cool.
And yeah, he butted heads with fellow founder Mon Mothma because he's more of the extremist side. Like, we gotta take military action and everything. And he basically told Mon Mothma to fuck off and created his own rebel alliance.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, he's a very fascinating character.
Just fuck you. I'm doing my own thing.
Yeah, bringing in the long tradition of Corellians wanting to be independent and everything.
That's correct.
Yeah. So, Garmbil Eblis, believing the course of creating an army of a republic was wrong. He kind of had a more twisted opinion on it, similar to Padme, but in a more extremist regard. Like, we need to defend ourselves, not depend on a larger army to defend us and everything.
Yeah.
And as such, Garm invoked the Contemptless Harmony, pulling out his delegation and isolating the Corellia sector from participating in the vote for the bill. While this move may have been interpreted as an act of secession from the Republic, Garm assured his colleagues that this wasn't taken for Corellia to join the Separatists, as they're still part of the Republic. They're basically pulling the, screw you guys, I'm going home.
Or the Bender, I'll make my own casino with hookers and blackjacks.
Yeah, that's a better comparison, actually. Even though he had good intentions, a lot of people in the Galactic Senate saw it in a very different light.
Well, yeah.
With even, Palpatine, he was the most vocal opposer of his decision.
Of course he was.
And secretly, Palpatine despised that clause because it basically allowed Corellia to not partake in anything.
Fuck you, Palpatine.
There are many other interesting opponents. Like, here's a quote, which I'll reveal of who is telling this quote later. This is an outrageous display of self-serving hypocrisy. 2 years ago, Bill Eblis stood before the Senate, arguing about the legality of secession, and now he goes and pulls a stunt like this? It's a grievous blow to unity. My worlds in the distant outer rim have stood by Coruscant through the most tumultuous of heat storms. That one so integral to the core should lack a spine is shameful. Said by Senator Ornfree Taw of Ryloth.
Motherfucker! God. I don't know if I've talked about my disdain for Ornfree Taw, but I fucking hate him. That spineless coward.
I know, I find that so hilarious that he would say that sort of thing, despite, the current state of affairs of Ryloth in comparison.
I mean, look at your own planet, you dumb motherfucker!
I stand with the Republic. Yeah, but you're still getting your people enslaved, you dumb fat bastard.
Oh my god! He's a hypocrite.
Yep, he is.
Oh my god.
But it's kind of an interesting outlook. Like, look at this member of a core world, one of the core members of a republic, saying to everybody, fuck off, we're not going to participate in this. It would be like the equivalent of a prominent member of Congress telling everybody to fuck off and leaving.
Yes, but Ornfree Taw, but it coming from him. It's like... Just insert the Picard. What the fuck is this shit?
Oh, man. That fucking stroke you had over there was priceless.
It's just coming from him, of all people.
Yeah.
Fuck!
Anyway, let's continue on.
Imagine if Kit was here. He'd be fucking having a stroke just like me.
Pretty much, yeah.
Hello, Band-Aid's droid.
Though when the Clone Wars broke out, Corellia would support the Republic in the war effort and dispatched many task force from its sector fleet. So at least for a little bit, Garm lifted the bill and everything to join in the war against the Separatists and everything.
Okay, so he put his pride away for a minute.
For a little bit, yeah. Fortunately, though, the planet was spared by any major offensive.
Well, it's the core world.
Yeah.
You're not going to attack the core worlds because otherwise you'll get fucked.
The closest it ever got to being invaded was when General Grievous led the famous offensive called Operation Dirge's Lance, which essentially is basically an operation to cut a line into the Republic core worlds. And Duros was one of those planets that he invaded. Mm-hmm. And do keep in mind, Duros is basically one planet away from Corellia.
Oh, shit.
And the Corellians were like, oh my god!
It's like, the Separatists are on our doorstep, what the fuck do we do?
Fortunately, nothing happened because I think Grievous just fucked off when he managed to conquer Duros and everything. Well, despite this lucky position, things would forever change with a declaration of a new order with Palpatine rendering Corellia's Contemplius Hermi useless when Garm Bill Iblis was invited back into the Imperial Senate. Basically, Palpatine was like, hey, Garm, since the war is now over, you want to come over? Yeah, sure. Ha-ha!
This dumb motherfucker.
Well, this is no longer the Republic anymore, therefore you can't call neutrality, bitch.
Of course Palpatine thought of that.
Pretty much, because that was one of the first things he wanted to, make away with.
It does show how much of a political genius he is.
Pretty much.
It just sucks that, he's fucking evil alongside it. It makes him a good villain, but also fuck you.
Yeah. As a result of this, Corellia would come under heavy control by the Empire, who taxed the world in war material in homage to the Emperor himself.
Yep.
So basically the exact opposite of what the Corellians wanted.
Yeah, that probably fucking pisses off Corellians even more. That their independence is being suppressed.
That motherfucking Darth nutcase over there, taxing us for our tea.
Darth Testicle
taxing us with their tea and everything. Give a fuck off my planet. But yeah, it even forced CEC to create several Star Destroyers and TIE Fighters for the Imperial War Machine. And the newly appointed Imperial governors of Corellia would turn a blind eye to many different criminal organizations that found opportunity on Corellia itself. And this is kind of a key point for many Corellians to look at all of this shit going on to their home planet and thinking to themselves, I much rather give a fuck out of here than become part of a gang and everything. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, if that's an important plot within the Solo movie, where Solo and his love interest were part of Kira, were basically servants in this criminal gang. And
right. They were like scrap runners or something.
Pretty much. And then Han Solo got the fuck out of Dodge and joined the Imperial military and everything.
And left Kira.
Yep. Unfortunately, but yeah.
Yeah, that's when people are like, oh shit, they gave him a name. Like, that's so dumb.
Yeah, Garm Bill Iblis grew increasingly worried about his planet losing its identity and secretly created his own resistance movement.
Of course he did.
And obviously later would found the Rebel Alliance. Even with the founding document of a Rebel Alliance being founded on one of Corellia's mountains.
Oh, that's cool.
It is pretty cool. So yeah, the planet that is well renowned for its isolationism and rebellious attitude, it hosted the founding of the epitome of rebellion.
That's cool.
Yeah. After the Battle of Endor, Corellia would become one of the founding members of a new republic. Though even then, Corellia proved to be a boiling point of multiple rebellions against the current ruling superpower in the galaxy, such as the case with the individual by the name of Frackin Sal Solo, who turns out to be the cousin of Han Solo himself.
Oh shit.
And I'll send a picture of him. Oddly enough, is it just me, or does he look like the older version of Harrison Ford?
I kind of see Harrison Ford, but I don't really.
Yeah.
It's more like I don't know.
But yeah, point is, Frackin Sal Solo, he was the founder of his organization called the Human League, which was basically an empire-based resistance movement. Like, they were human-centric and everything. Like, fuck you, aliens, we need human supremacy and everything. And Corellia itself would become one of the many worlds resisting the Galactic Alliance, which is basically the successor of the New Republic. And it would found under, the name of Frackin Sal Solo, they would found their own government called the Confederation.
So this is like a long time after A New Hope.
Yep, pretty much.
Or, like the last of the trilogy.
Yeah, I think it was like 20, 30 years after.
Okay.
This is right around the time where Jason Solo, who is the Legends version of Kylo Ren, is popping around and everything.
Okay.
He's the new baddie on the block and everything. He rules the Galactic Alliance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
And then this would create the second Galactic Civil War, which is a freeway battle between the Jason Solo's Alliance, Luke Skywalker's Jedi Order, and this new Confederation, which was founded by Corellia and everything. This war would come to an end when Jason Solo was killed and the Confederation surrendered, but refused to rejoin the Galactic Alliance and instead staying neutral and independent.
Like permanently, or?
It eventually rejoined the Galactic Alliance, but point is, Corellia, for a brief time in its history, was basically what it always dreamed of being, an independent nation.
Cool.
And
at least one planet was able to achieve it.
Yeah, for a brief moment. Also, I got to share this funny picture of frackin' Sal Solo being cornered by Boba Fett and his Mandalorians. Like, I think this is legit him getting assassinated by the Mandalorians. He's like, whoa, let's calm down there. We could talk about this.
That's cool.
But yeah,
you're surrounded by 3 Mandalorians. You're fucked.
He's all like, calm down. We could talk about this. But yeah, that is basically Corellia. What do you think?
That was better than I thought.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be really bland, but it wasn't. I'm surprised yet again.
Yeah, Corellia is essentially one of those third parties. If it isn't the Mandalorians, it's most likely Corellia that's bumping around and everything. Mm-hmm. Like, Corellia is on one side, extremely important to the Galactic Republic and everything, being one of its core founders and, being responsible for spreading its influence throughout the galaxy with its innovations and hyperdrives and everything. But on the other end, it has this maverick, rebellious attitude. Mm-hmm. Like, as you could obviously see with a lot of their ships being smuggler and criminal elements and everything.
Yeah, it's like rebellion is always going to be a thing, and it's a cool way for that to work into Star Wars.
It is always going to be a very prominent thing. Yeah, the Corellians are very fascinating. A lot of their characters are really cool. Obviously, Han Solo being the likable rogue that he is and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Which Antilles, who's he's not dived into much in the movies, obviously, but he's got a very interesting story in the novels and everything. Which is he's the leader of Rogue Squadron, by the way.
Yeah, I think he makes a small appearance in the last movie, right?
Yeah, The Rise of Skywalker, where he's, I believe, a gunner of a Millennium Falcon and everything.
Cool.
And Dingar being one of those prominent bounty hunters. He actually, in Legends anyway, Dingar was the guy who saved Boba Fett from the Sarlacc pit.
Oh, shit.
And
that's a good way to earn brownie points with Boba Fett.
Yeah, he's kind of a Chad, and the reason why he has that, I forget what it's called, but the turban, thank you, was because he was blown in the face so hard that he needed to cover it up and everything. I could be wrong, but I remember that off the top of my head. And of course, Gilead Pelion is also a very fascinating character. Like, he's been a Republic officer. He actually had interactions with Ahsoka and Rex at one point.
I think he was mentioned in the Clone Wars.
Yep.
Or at least he showed up somewhere.
I don't think in the TV show, but I definitely know there's like a novel series where he encounters Ahsoka and he makes a little comment on her fashion, so to speak.
Yeah, a lot of people have a take to say on Ahsoka's fashion.
Yeah, and of course being the right-hand man of Thrawn himself, which is...
Badass in and of itself.
Yeah, pretty badass within itself.
It takes a lot to earn his respect.
Yeah, and he eventually actually becomes the leader of the Imperial Remnant.
Yeah, because, Thrawn died.
Yeah, Gilead Pelion is kind of a Chad, and I would love to dive into his episode in one of these days.
Mark it on the list.
Mark it on the list.
And then finally, Kira.
Yeah, Kira. She is fascinating in her own regard as I wouldn't say apprentice, but I guess protege of Maul and everything.
Kind of. It's like she's an extension of him through his criminal empire.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool. She's still... she's a bit of a damsel in distress, but if you look at the comics, she's badass.
She is pretty badass, yeah.
In the movie, she's kind of but in the comics, badass.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously, Corellians, they have a long line of very fascinating characters that that, if I'm going to be completely honest, each one of them need their own episode. Han Solo, being the obvious example.
This would be a good opportunity to make a poll.
Yeah. Which Corellian character
do you want us to cover? What would get more votes?
In my personal opinion, I would love to dive into Garm Bill Iblis's character. He is such a fascinating character.
That does sound interesting.
He is actually one of the few people that the New Republic actually reaches out to in, the threat against Thrawn, because I think he has some experience in fighting Thrawn and everything.
Okay.
So, yeah, he's like Thrawn's opposite, aside from, Akbar and everything.
And that's another topic that we need to cover, is Admiral Akbar.
Akbar, yeah, we'll have to dive into the Mon Cala one of these days.
Yes.
But anyway, before I ramble on, you have any favorites of yours, Hannah?
The wildlife was very interesting.
Oh, yeah. Even though it was very diverse.
Small,
yeah.
But it was still cool. You wouldn't think that Corellia would have wildlife, since all you mainly see is city.
Oh, yeah, it's like a... 60% of it is industrial cities and everything, but it has a good touch of untouched wildlife and everything.
Yeah, I think that's cool, though.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. I think my personal favorite is the Corellian sand panther.
Oh, yeah. That's the kitty you don't want to mess with.
Oh, absolutely. If it's not going to sneak up on you and pounce on you centimeters away from your face, its venom will definitely kill you. I think it could be the sand panther or another cat species from Corellia, but in Legends, there was a cat species that actually killed Pre Vizsla's predecessor of the Death Watch and everything.
Oh, interesting.
I believe his name was Taz Vizsla.
Okay.
Basically, a long story short, Jango Fett was having this epic duel with this Vizsla guy, and they go to Corellia, and the Vizsla guy poisoned Jango, and he's all like, I'll let the poison take care of you. And he's like, then I'll let the panther take care of you. And the panther pounces on him and kills his ass.
God, that's cool.
It is so fucking cool. Corellia is so awesome.
Yeah.
Aside from Naboo, I wouldn't mind going to Corellia if I was in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, it sounds very nice.
It is very nice. But yeah, that's all I have to pull out of my ass right now.
Hey, but we're still an hour in. So.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But yeah, that's our episode of Can Mayonnaise Kill a Jedi? Or in this case, how many layers do Corellians have?
Like ogres.
Yeah, pretty much. Ogres have layers.
Oh, the nostalgia. That was good.
It was so good. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you know what our next episode is going to be about, Hannah.
We're going to be talking about the Galactic Senate.
Yeah, of course. The epitome of politics and corruption in the Star Wars galaxy.
I mean, people have been wanting to see more politics, so this is great. But it's going to be an undertaking.
Yeah, definitely. It's not that exploring the Galactic Senate is particularly long. It's just big words.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do my fucking best to explain it all. I'm
just happy for more politics, because I like talking about Star Wars politics.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just going to have to do a deep, give a political mindset for this sort of thing. Because, oh boy, there are terms and definitions I do not understand from my puny little human brain up here.
We shall try our best.
But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode on Corellia and its people. I definitely had a lot of fun talking about the Corellians and Corellia and everything. But yeah, I'll probably do a poll later of which Corellian character we should dive into next in the future. And yeah, make sure to leave your likes, comment down below, all the fun stuff for YouTube
Subscribe,
and everything.
Ring the bell.
But anyway, before I daddle on anymore, this is the way, and may the force be with you.
May the force be with you.
Bye-bye!
Bye.